Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff, and I have written this book, Folding the Mind, Unique Discoveries We All Can Make into Deeper Reality Naturally. And let me show you the book and get out of the way a bit. Hopefully you see that. The poster behind me is actually a poster having to do with the Enlightenment music by Zazen. So it's a CD that was created many years ago and very, very helpful in the morning meditation. So I'll be going over different things about meditation in another talk. This talk has to do with stillness. I've mentioned I will be doing a series of talks having to do with various topics in my book, and also themes and some sub-themes that run through the book in various talks. And I thought it'd be great to get that kind of information out. And also reading this book that I've written would give people that are interested in that kind of thing, we could create a type of interaction that would actually be helpful to both of us. But the main idea of the book is to get the information out to be helpful to people in their meditation and mindfulness practice. And in the discoveries, the main theme of the book is about how to make interesting discoveries that have to do with our inner being. The stillness, which is, once again, today's topic, is a major theme that runs through the book. And stillness has to do with stillness in our mind, quieting down our mind, also stillness in our being, which is an access to deeper reality. This stillness has a lot to do with deeper meditation and slowing down thought and actually going beyond thought, where something very interesting happens. In this stillness, people talk about this wonderful type of peace that can be accessed in our being as we go deeper in our meditation. But I found that, which is quite wonderful, this piece, but I found that as we go deeper and look at the deeper elements of it, it's actually quite active, and there are powerful currents of energy there. Kundalini energy currents is another way to refer to it, that can take us somewhere. It also is embedded, full of knowledge and understandings that are imparted to us. So this is something very exciting that I discovered actually after many years myself, a bunch of years back, that I wasn't able to actually access. Once I was able to access that, after many years of meditating and practice, and through my self-discovery process and frustrations, and actually a certain amount of fear that I never would be able to do that, it did finally start beginning to happen, and then is becoming fuller all the time. I interacted with my amazing teacher, just an amazing teacher in self-discovery and a tremendous meditator that I learned after many years. I learned many things from him, Dr. Frederick Lenz. So the book has a lot to do with what I learned from my teacher, Dr. Frederick Lenz, and also some other things I've come across over the period of my life. But to be able to, and it's hard to describe what meditation might really be, but able to reach the stillness that we're talking about today involves slowing down thought and eventually going beyond thought. And there's just so many different elements to it. I'm suggesting a particular approach that I've had some success with, actually a lot of success with, given of the years of working on this and the, as I mentioned, much frustration and fear that I never would be able to actually access that. That it turns out that it is very possible. In this flow that I'm talking about of these currents, is also gives us access to the higher dimensions, which really do exist. The dimensions I'm talking about are in the formless, which would be the causal dimensions, which is the underpinning of the higher astral. The higher astral is a form; it's not physical. Also, a form is the physical dimension. It does become quite obvious that the higher astral type planes and actually worlds actually do exist, and it takes a certain level of stillness, which is very subtle, but also very noticeable. There's no mistaking it as we touch into the higher astral, and then of course, as we touch if we go very, very deep in our stillness, we touch into the higher causal planes of which are vast planes of light and intelligence and knowledge. That I always used to sort of like read about, but it was just too fantastic to believe that somebody could actually, or somebody like me actually could actually start touching into that. But I am here to say that is most certainly possible. And the likelihood increases if we work on the various elements of our practice to reach this deep level of stillness that leads to all sorts of wonderful things. In the higher dimensions, there are actually what are called nodal points mentioned by my teacher. These nodal points that we tap into gives us different perspectives on reality that we can apply in our daily life. And I'll mention more about nodal points in another video. But to say a little bit more about the stillness, a big part of being able to generate that has to do with how we're actually operating in the world, in our careers and relationships, and our mindfulness practice. It's very important. It goes hand in hand with the type of meditation that I'm talking about. In our mindfulness practice, actually the world and the objects of the world can appear, are really like appearances. This concept of appearances is mentioned in esoteric Buddhism, but it's very similar to actually slowing down thought and going beyond thoughts, that the nature of the appearances of the world, we can get into a type of flow with that where we actually start feeling more of the what is in the inner aspects of these outer appearances. So by letting go more, which is another big concept actually that I haven't mentioned yet, in generating or accessing deeper stillness. The letting go is very important in being able to flow with the nature of appearances in our daily life. It's a fun attitude. It's a letting go. It's a level of calmness and relaxing into how we're actually operating in the world and how we're perceiving the world, where we start feeling that stillness in our mindfulness practice, in our daily life. So the stillness, the stillness has an analog of what we feel in our mindfulness practice, in our daily life. The analog is similar and very helpful in accessing the stillness in our meditation. So the meditation practice and mindfulness practice go hand in hand. Mindfulness practice I've mentioned in another video, and I will be going into it again. But we'll also be having a video on meditation practice, in particular a type of chakra meditation practice where we're having a very tight focus on each of the three main chakras: the navel center, the heart center, and the third eye. So that will be another major topic I'll go over in another video. Also going to power spots where we access a certain amount of knowledge and energy at various power spots throughout the country and the world. They have interesting, unique characteristics to each power spot. And then the type of energy that we access there is different, but quite interesting and quite wonderful. But it helps us, this added energy that we gain from power spots helps us, aids us in able to go deeper in our meditation practice, and touch into stillness. Actually touching or flowing into these currents that lie in that stillness releases a lot of energy actually that we can use in our daily life. So there's all sorts of things going on. I'm just briefly touching on some aspects of it to give you kind of a feel for it, and I do talk about it in more detail in this book. So much to say more about stillness. I can see that as I'm talking right now, and obviously I brought up meditation practice and mindfulness practice and going to power spots. And there's so many other elements I haven't even mentioned. But if you do get a chance to take a look at this material, it's mainly to be helpful, to get the information out there to people. Because I do, as a teacher myself and as a guide, I have noticed how people struggle so much with their meditation practice and their mindfulness practice, and also that frustration I've been talking about, and also a certain amount of anxiety, angst involved in the difficulties or the perceived difficulties of actually touching into this type of stillness I'm talking about. That it is once again quite possible, and once it starts happening, it changes our entire practice. It brings everything to another level. We're then dealing with a bunch of other types of challenges that come up as we are actually going deeper into our being. All sorts of other types of things are noticed that we'll have to deal with, and it's quite a journey. And the idea is to make it fun and have a really light attitude, you might say, in the sense of a lightness about it, and just a feeling of discovery. Discovery, of course, is another major topic that I barely even discussed here, because in that, the discoveries that are made in that stillness having to do with knowledge, which is connected to understandings, things that we've been working on, the way we conceive of ourselves, the way we perceive, subtle types of kind of knowledge seeps into us, and it actually loosens us up, and also gives us an idea of, or actually we start perceiving openings to greater knowledge, more buoyancy, more happiness, that is very helpful and changes, actually does transform us in different ways and changes the way we perceive, which is another thing that's totally exciting. So a lot to discuss, and in our interactions, if they occur in the future, this will be helpful in potentially setting it up for interested people that are interested in this kind of approach, and it becomes a win-win type of interaction, because I learn so much from the people I interact with because of the nature of the uniqueness of the way each of us really perceives, and how we live our life, and how we do our self-discovery. So thank you for listening, and enjoy yourself.